You ready?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Sports Wrap, George Ringer. Welcome to it. Geez, middle of July already.
What can I say?
It's crazy.
I tell you what, I mean, there you are. It's food and circus. You got to have it.
Well, I'll tell you, I was getting ready for my tomorrow morning sports this afternoon, and I was writing the things down on my tablet because I got to have things written down. It's one of the things that I do, and the list is very short for tomorrow. There's no Wimbledon. Okay, we got the Tour de France going on.
Yes.
But hockey's done. There's no basketball game tomorrow, so there's nothing to talk about that because the NBA's taking 3 days off in between games. Why, I have no clue. Let's get this thing done with. It's July. The Twins are,
the Twins are what, playing well?
The Twins are playing well, but they don't play tomorrow. So, we got the All-Star game, but there's nothing we got the home run contest, but tomorrow's a tough day.
Right now, if I had to put a twin in the home run contest, it would be my friend Jorge.
Oh, Jorge. Hip, hip, hooray.
Jorge's playing well these days.
He's done well for himself. We might as well start there. We'll talk about the Twins and 4-game winning streak. And
that's right.
I was on the road yesterday, Sunday. I went and did a baseball game on the radio in Sedan. And then I had a few hours in between. I was going back to do the bass fishing, Bronco bass fishing weigh-in in Orr, so I had a little time, so I stopped at the dam and had a glass of lemonade and a chicken Caesar salad for lunch / supper / whatever it was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had the Twins on one TV, I had the soccer match on the other, and so I'm watching the Twins, and of course when I left they're up 6-4.
Yeah.
Before I could even get to the car, it was 6-5.
Yeah, these Grand Slams have a way of changing things.
And I'm like, okay. So then I only had to go a mile and a half up to the park where they were doing the weigh-in, and I went and got everything all set up. And all of a sudden I get a text message on my thing or a tweet on my phone, we're going to extra innings, and I'm like, at 9-9, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, then the Grand Slam, and then Ben Rortvedt hits a home run to tie it, and then Hip Hip Hooray wins it in extra innings with a home run.
As long as we're standing right there, let's take a look at Ben Rortvedt, 23 years old, and he is amongst 5 or 6 really good rookie people. Not only Karloff and Larnach and Celestino, Ryan Jefferson, and Nick Gordon. He's the oldest one. He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
And these guys, they're pulling the plug and coming across with some key hits.
Yeah, Larnach has struck out 4 times in one game. Struck out 4 times in a game, twice in the last 10 days. That concerns me because those are Sano-like numbers.
I know.
And but he's young and he's still learning, and we need to be more patient. But here we are. We've been saying since mid-May, early May, folks, let's wait till the All-Star break. Let's wait till the end of the July to see what the Twins are going to do. Well, they just won 4 in a row, and they're still 15 games out of first place.
Well, okay, but they got the same team for 4 games as soon as the tournament's over.
As soon as the All-Star break's over, they get 4.
And on top of that, can we get Brian Buxton back in time after the All-Star break?
Okay, so we got 4 games with Detroit in Detroit. You're right about that. And then we've got 4 games at Chicago. Now, let's just say they would win 6 out of 8 of those games. That's possible, right? Okay, let's say they win. Let's just do the math for a minute because I like to do the math. Let's say they won all 4 against Detroit and they split with Chicago. Probably the best that they could gain is 2 games. They'd still be 13 games out, and we can see August 1 coming in. To me, that means we're going to be sellers in a couple of weeks. We're not going to be buyers. We're going to be sellers.
We'll see how that works, but it all depends on Cleveland and Chicago as well. And sometimes they don't play so hot.
Yeah.
And so they could have and Detroit as well. I mean, they're really, what do they got? 7 losses in a row. They are a mess. And so they're going to come back. Of course, they're all over sitting in Detroit saying, wait till the All-Star break, and then everything will start coming together. Now, I'm not sure it's ever going to come together, but I did, when I took a look at the ages of these young guys that they were playing, Hey,
So that, I think, and that, your point, George, might beg the question on whether we should sell. Okay, should we get rid of Jorge Polanco?
not right now.
Okay, I think it's very likely he could be gone. Okay, Josh Donaldson, where are we sitting at? Okay, we've got third baseman galore or whatever. Is it time for him to go? Miguel Sano, have we given him enough time to do his thing? God forbid, don't anybody strike me down. Could Nelson Cruz be traded at the break and send him to a contender where he has a chance to win a world championship? Could he ask for that? I know he says he loves playing in Minnesota, and he very well might. But could he say...
Right now, he's the second best designated hitter in the game.
That's why I think people would trade for him. That's why I think they... As much as I hate to see Nelson Cruz go, he's an asset that is expendable at this time of the year. If we're down by 14 games in 2 weeks, he's going to go. To me, he's going to go because we're going to be able to get a pitcher and a whatever for him, and we give up this year and maybe not next year. But you talk about these 6 young kids, and all of a sudden you influx some talent, and now we're going back to 1984 when it was Kirby and Kent and Tom and the boys, Gary Gaetti and everybody else in '84. When they made a nice run, they had a young team, and then '85 and '86 were tough years. They got Tom Kelly in, and all of a sudden they're world champions in '87. Is that what this team could be right now? Because you haven't talked about Royce, because he's got a blown out knee. Where is he going to be next year? There's some young pieces here, and if you could find some pitchers to go along with this talent.
Well, that's the other thing right now. The relief pitchers are pitching fairly well, and we do have 2 or 3 good starters depending on the day or the week.
I agree, and so it's, you know, I hate to think that we'd get rid of Jose Barrios or Kenta Maeda, but again, if we go into that seller's market, do we get rid of one starting pitcher to get three prospects?
Every time I panic, they play Moneyball on TV. And so I sit around, and it goes all over again where they're making these deals and taking the best player they can for the money.
And you know what the scary part was? It got him to the playoffs, but it never got him to the World Series.
No, it didn't.
It didn't, and so... I don't.
But everybody uses a little bit Moneyball these days.
Oh yeah, they're crunching numbers big
yes,
time.
They are.
So yeah, right now, like I said, the Twins are a long ways out, and it's disappointing because there's pieces there, and Falvey and the boys, they've got some decisions to make. I mean, they're not easy decisions because, like you said, you don't want to blow up and send the wrong part away.
No, you don't. And it's just like, and I just want to remind you, David Ortiz, this keeps on haunting me.
I've said David Ortiz more times in the last 4 years than he even deserves to be talked about. And I've never talked about him in a good way because of that pot anyway. So, yeah.
How old is Sano?
28, I think. 29, maybe.
These really are boys of summer.
Oh, and then you said, what about bringing when Byron Buxton comes back? Now think about
one of these guys is going to have to go somewhere.
Yeah, you know, I'd love to see Celestino stay down at AAA. I'd love to see Nick Gordon stay down at AAA for another year so he can play every day, get out there and get 4 at-bats every day, get to play his position and do those things. So, yeah, it's a curious time. It's interesting times, and it's tough. So, well, I suppose we should talk about the home run contest a little bit.
We can.
We might as well hit that while we're here.
Okay, as long as
I know you're excited.
I am, and I'm going to be watching it tonight because, you know, did you know that the longest ball ever hit was 513 feet by Aaron the Judge?
Okay.
And that was 3-4 years ago. I think that there's going to be pops in the 500 range tonight.
Oh, I would, yeah. With it being in Denver,
light air.
You know, most years you're talking home runs that are hitting the 450 plus range. Yeah, in Denver, I think 500 is very possible.
And also, I'm going to predict that Ohtani's not going to be the only one that's going to be swatting them. And I think Joey Gallo really could get into the swing and lift some of these out. But I mean, I just to me, is just as much fun as the All-Star game.
I'll be honest with you. I'll say it's more fun than the All-Star game because you know you're going to see a certain number of long home runs here. The All-Star game could be 3-1 tomorrow. I mean, I know they can hit the ball, but you're going against the best pitchers too. I mean, you could see a 3-1 ball game, which could be a snoozer and whatever else. So.
No, when I was a kid, one of the best TV shows they had was Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit later in the evening, and so sometimes I had to sneak to watch, but there weren't too many channels, and it was even on when the parents were hanging around. But Home Run Derby, man, they had some great people on there, and I think these hitters right now, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're coming off with, I mean, Ohtani off the one home run he had, 115 miles an hour coming off his bat. Well,
it's going to go a long ways.
It's going to go a long ways, and then you see this guy. He's got a smile on his face. He's got great, big, nasty shoulders, and I'm pulling for him. I think, and somebody said people wanted to know what it was like to have Babe Ruth around. This is as close as we're going to get.
I'm going to be interested because everybody seems to say Shohei. That's how I've been taught. That's how I found it on the internet. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani. I'm interested to see if I watch tonight, if I can stay awake that long. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. So obviously it would be a great story for Ohtani to win it, then pitch tomorrow and be the DH. There's all kinds of stuff, and baseball needs an influx of excitement. So. Why not?
Does.
You know, and baseball is used to basketball being done June 15th, hockey's done by June 15th, so they've already been dominating the scene. They've had to share the scene for a while here, and they need some excitement, and they're going to get it.
Yeah, no, basketball is 1 month late, and but you're right about one thing. 3 days break at this point in time. Let's get this thing over with.
Absolutely, the whole. I suppose we should talk about Wyatt Ulrich while we're in the baseball.
I was just going to ask you, how's Wyatt doing?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Ulrich had his hitting streak broke yesterday. And I believe, and we're going to blame it on Nick Schenecker.
Okay.
Because Nick was at the game yesterday. He called me up. I was on my way home last night, and he called me up and he said, "Ringer, I think I blew it." And I'm like, "What'd you do, Nicky?" And he says, "The hitting streak is over, and I was there." And I'm like, he says, "I hope I wasn't the reason."
Did Wyatt know he was there?
I think so, yeah. I think he knew it was coming. Anyway, Wyatt's hitting streak ends at 29 games. Outstanding. Wyatt, wow,
what a start.
He's
incredible start.
He's batting .386 right now. But last week, on Tuesday, his batting average was .408. So he had a little tough week this week. But 29-game hitting streak. They were playing Chicago, the best team in the league, record-wise. So I suspect that things were a little bit tougher, but he continues to amaze. He continues to do the things, and everybody. Even DiMaggio, who had 56 games, he finally missed one day.
Well, no, and and they always said Lou Gehrig, the first time that he got up to bat, he struck out, and it's just it happens like that.
Those things happen.
And I do believe the same thing happened to Jackie Robinson. So the pitching, as soon as he adapts to this pitching, I suspect he's going to do.
Well, if he adapts any better than what he's doing, he's not going to be playing at that league for very long.
At that level or the next level or whatever level, he.
Yeah, Uncle Paul asked, is it time for him to get to the show, and of course the MLB draft is going on.
It is.
And we've talked about that. Could he get drafted? Might he get drafted? He says no because he's too old. He's going to be 25 in a few days, and he's too old to be drafted.
Wow.
That might be possible, but we'll see.
Here we are, Nick Gordon, he's 25.
He's 25.
He's 25. And when you say, I'm too old, and you're 25, that's
you're too old to get drafted. Nobody but they used to have 40 picks. Well, in the 27th round, who gives a rip? Well, we'll take a chance on it. We'll take a flyer on this guy. I don't know how many rounds. That's one thing that I didn't check to see how many rounds they were going to that they are doing, because like I said, it used to be 40. I think it's pared down a little bit, but Twins got a couple of drafted twice yesterday in the first round, got a pick at 26 and a pick at 36, and they got a pitcher out of New Jersey that a lot of the scuttlebutt on the internet today was the Twins reached. Twins think they got a diamond in the rough. Everybody seems to think that he's a little bit of a reach. Here's a stat that I found on him this morning. The kid that they got a pitcher that the Twins drafted out of New Jersey, he pitched 48 and 2/3 innings in high school ball this year. He gave up 17 hits. 17 hits.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
He did have 17 walks to go along with like 45 strikeouts. But
Is control an issue?
so, well, you know, to me, if it's, you're only giving up 17 hits,
That's not bad.
that's not too shabby. And
There's
then they
that
got
whole thing, you can't hit what you don't see.
there you go.
It's,
And then he's got they drafted a shortstop out of Wisconsin, whose older brother was drafted by the Cleveland Indians 3 years ago. So they said he is not only a great baseball player, but he's a rock star kid. He's a solid kid. So who knows? 2 first-round picks for the Twins. We'll see what they can do with them in about now 4 years.
well, you can keep an eye on them. They'll wind up over in St. Paul.
Pitcher is committed to Florida, so you might get to watch him play for Florida, pitch for Florida next spring. And the shortstop from Wisconsin is committed to Alabama. So we'll see what happens there.
They
But
should have drafted him and convinced him to go come play Minnesota.
well,
but that's another deal.
that's the thing now.
They could use some help down there.
They get committed and see what happens.
Yeah.
You want to talk basketball next,
We can talk basketball.
or you got something else you want?
No. I would just, I watched the game. Well, actually, the second half of the game, and Giannis just kind of willed his way, and they picked him up by 10, and
Yeah, I think a lot of people were leaving the Bucks for dead.
Oh no!
After they lost the first 2 games, and I'm like,
They did the same thing with Brooklyn. What were they down 3-0?
you got a home court advantage.
You do.
So
you got one or two of the really good basketball players.
You only got to win one on their home floor, win them all on your floor, and you're the champion. So, it's and maybe ESPN and all, they're trying to make more of it than it actually is. But I think I said last week that this series was going to go 7 games. I still stand by that. It's going to go 7 games, and I still think the Suns are going to win it. But hey, I'm going to say it this way. Phoenix's high scorer last night was Chris Paul with 19 points. 19. Come on, this is the NBA. This is a 48-minute game.
Yes.
And where's Devin Booker? All-world Mr. Devin Booker.
Yeah,
He's been shut down.
He was.
He's been shut down.
They're actually playing defense, and they're spreading that court out there pretty well. And even they can't hit from out in the alley. So, but they're playing well. Actually, it's really a very aggressive game. This is game 4 coming up. It's going to be a lip ripper. They're going to let each other.
Well, and the thing is, Phoenix wins. They make it 3-1 going home. Milwaukee's got a tough road to hold. They got to win twice on the road and plus at home. Yeah. So, to me, Milwaukee's got to win this game.
Oh yeah,
to keep the pressure on. So
no, they do. But they they got boistered by that last game, and they're playing well, and they're done. What happens, of course, is Giannis dominates the middle. He's really big and strong, and people bounce off him.
You know what I don't like about Giannis, I've decided, and it's not his free throw shooting. It's every time that he drives to the basket and he gets a little love bump, he's crying to the referees. Whoa, whoa.
Well, hey, that could have been.
You know what I want to tell him?
What?
This ain't Europe, Giannis. This ain't Europe. You're going to get bumped a little bit. You're playing in the NBA, buddy.
Well,
jeez Louise, quit balling.
And speaking of those free throws, 13 for 17.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference because he's going to get nailed in there.
Absolutely.
There's no 2 ways about it.
We got to talk the Lynx then.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
We can talk about the Lynx.
No, go ahead.
I was talking about we had an exhibition game.
You want to talk about an exhibition game, huh?
With Nigeria.
Yeah.
And Nigeria snuck a W away from the boys.
I brush it off as their heads up, their you know where's.
Yeah.
Just you know, they're coming off of a season. Nigeria had everything to gain. The United States had everything to lose. They lose 90 to 87.
Well, you know, and this is the other thing that I find interesting is Nigeria has NBA players.
Yes.
Half of Europe, NBA players. There are NBA players from all over the world that are playing in this Olympic game.
I don't think the U.S. is going to have it easy when they get to the Olympics. But I also don't think that the U.S. players were going out there and pouring it on to try to play their best. I think they were feeling each other out and like, hey, guys, we're having fun playing basketball together.
Fun playing basketball. Yeah. I think that was. I think
that's what it was, and you know. It's good to have a wake-up call. Wow. They got the wake-up call.
Hey, it's good for the newspapers. Look at what we got going
It's great for the newspapers.
Yeah.
And they even got us to talk about it.
Well, they do.
Because we would not have mentioned an exhibition game against Nigeria if the United States had won by 17 points.
I think
it would have been an afterthought.
I think they're playing Australia tonight.
Australia today, yes, Monday. Yep.
Today?
And they got Australia again over the weekend, I think. So, yeah, you know, it's getting time. I think the basketball starts, well, the Olympics are only 9 days away, 11 away. I know softball and baseball and soccer start on Wednesday the 21st. The opening ceremonies aren't until the 23rd. And then I got my schedule all lined up and everything else. But I see wrestling isn't until week 2.
That's the second week.
When you're already exhausted.
No, you got boxing the first week and wrestling the second. But I tell you, you know, the opening ceremonies, I was at Montreal in 1976. I didn't know almost impossible to get tickets. So as we saw all the athletes come in, there were all kinds of fans and all kinds of sport people. We were just kids, didn't have tickets, and we stood out and we watched the athletes come in, and as they were coming in, the athletes were taking pictures of us. And so, you know, I sit there and I think about that, and now I wonder, how can they do this without fans? How can you have an opening ceremony marching in and doing that totally for television? Yeah, I understand. It's just, you know, I mean.
Yeah, you definitely are going to lose some effect without the fans, without the Prime Minister of Japan sitting in the stands, and NBC's going to have some work to do.
Oh, they are. If they can present this and carry this off.
You know, I think you're right. I was watching the Twins game the other night, and Dick Bremer said to Jim Kittycott, hey, how did we do this last year without the fans? How did we do this without the fans? I'm thinking about the 100s in track.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, when that gun goes off, the place explodes.
Right.
The people rise to their feet.
10 seconds scream.
And all you got to do is scream for 10 seconds, and it's going to be over, you know, and it's all done. The athletes aren't going to have that.
No.
So how does that change the adrenaline flow, that kick? When you jump out of those blocks and you hear that crowd explode, your body's just got to turn into one big goosebump, and the adrenaline's got to shoot through your body, and you're flying down that. And so, you know, how about running a marathon? Nobody there to cheer you on. Nobody. Scary.
And also, all these athletes, they can't leave Olympic Village. They can't. They're
not going to get to go experience Tokyo.
No, they're not going to be able to experience Japan. They're kind of getting a short.
I suppose next week is going to have to be kind of about the Olympics, huh?
It's going to have to be about the Olympics, and then there will be plenty of fans watching wrestling over the internet, over whatever.
I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in, George.
I don't either.
Going to have to give a little bit, but isn't that what Supertramp said? You got to give a little bit.
You got to give a little bit.
Got to give a little bit. How about the Lynx?
Oh,
red hot.
They're 7 in a row.
Now they got to take a month off.
They just hammered Los Angeles, and
it was 29-13 after a quarter. It was over.
It was over. No.
You know, picking up Nafisa Collier, and now getting Kayla McBride, and now you still got Sylvia Fowles, who, you know, she used to have to be the stud in the middle. Yeah. She doesn't have to be the stud every night. She can pick and choose her spots. And, you know, Cheryl Reeve had a comment on the radio this morning, if you were listening, and she talked about that sometimes you got to get kicked. Sometimes you got to get knocked down before you can find your identity and find out what you're made of. And she said, we were 0-4, and we were down, and we had to grind and dig. And she said, now this team believes that they can win against anybody. And so this month off till August 15th scares the bejeebers out of me, because when you get something going like that, you want to keep it going.
Yeah, you do.
And you're going to take two of your horses, Collier and Falls, who are both going to the Olympics. Going to come back maybe a little tired, and we'll see how the mix goes. I'm excited for this team. They absolutely. The score didn't show it, but I think they beat Las Vegas, who's second best team in the WNBA record-wise. They only won by 10 points, but they felt like they were in control of the game. That it was never away from them. And to me, that's a team that knows that they can play the game and that they can win. And so,
well, what you're describing is they started from here and they're building up. This team has an awful lot of confidence right now. They're shooting the ball well. They're playing good defense.
Just think if Maya Moore was playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Good grief.
And who knows? Maybe she can come back next year.
It would be nice to see her come back. She's very talented, but at the same time, I think, Robert Smith for the Vikings. He retired when he was 28, 29. How about?
That's because he had a lot of money. I'm not sure she does.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. But you get to a point. Look at Barry Sanders.
No, and
Barry Sanders could have played another 3, 4, 5 years easy.
She's an extremely capable woman, and she.
I don't think it's just in basketball. That's the thing about it.
No, she's smart. She she believes in herself and what she's doing. So there's no denying that.
I'd love to put her back in a blue jersey for the Lynx, though, man. Would they be tough?
They would. They're going to be tough the way it is.
Soccer?
Well, I happen to watch England and Italy. Now, it was. They got a goal apiece. They got a goal the first period from England. They got a goal second period from Italy.
England's was the fastest goal ever in a Euro final, a minute 34 in.
Yeah. And you could see the Italiano. They sit back and they didn't much panic. They went down the middle of the second period, scored, and from then on, I thought Italy kind of took over. And and you just brought this up. The mental ability of seeing what you want to do is just as important as, like they says, it's 75% physical. The other half is mental.
There you go.
And so and you can see Italy just kind of expanding itself. Then when they started that kickoff thing, I'm not a knowledgeable soccer fan, but they had this thing working, and you thought England's going to do this. England's going to do this. First time since 1966. This was incredible.
Well, and this is the first time they've ever lost a match on their home turf at Wembley.
Wembley.
What the heck?
Yeah, 75,000 people, and I'm telling you what, there was no social distancing going on there. They've opened it up completely. Wimbledon, which we should talk about in a few moments, was packed to the gills. They were,
and we'll see what. Yeah, it was. I watched a little bit. I got to watch a little bit of the second half while I was at the dam yesterday, and I did see Italy's goal. I got to see England's goal this morning. The guy looked like he was surprised that he scored on it.
Well, he was
like,
it in there.
Hey, he scored! Guys, look at me! So yeah, it was good.
The statistic I'd want to see is how many pints of beer were consumed in that stadium during that. But those fans were ready to bust loose. England, they needed this. Italy probably needed it even more. I saw the celebration going on in front of the Colosseum in Rome, of which I've been to, and I thought, would that be a fun place to be tonight? And they were really, really whooping it up.
Yeah. Their first title since '68 for Italy, first Euro title since '68, and of course that'll bring us to the World Cup next year. This was just a precursor. Now they'll bring everybody else in, and so you'll get all soccered up again next. I think because it's in Qatar, I think it's being moved.
They have to. 130 degrees? What are you going to do?
I think they're playing it in October or November next year. Who knows?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Who knows?
The Loons lost last week for the first time.
They did.
They looked good for a little bit, and then I don't know, things things just didn't go well. But hey, they're off until Saturday. Let's hope they're in the top half of the Western Conference now after this run of 7 straight unbeaten. So again, come on, Loons. That is, a lot of people talk that they want to go watch the Twins. Okay, I'd like to go watch the Twins. I'm torn between watching the Saints or the Loons. To me, if I have to pick one this summer, if I go, which I don't think I will, if I had to pick one, I would be torn whether I'd go watch the Saints or watch the Loons.
If you want to watch the Saints, you got to go to a Twins game these days.
True.
And that's so. But I'll tell you, that's why I have them there. That's the beauty of having
a AAA team that close.
AAA team right next door.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wimbledon, you were saying something about Wimbledon.
The number 1 seeds took care of business. Ash Barty, boy, it looked like she was going to blow it. She won the first set 6-3. Ash Barty from Australia, and then Pliskova came back and won the second set 7-6 in a tie break, and then I don't know what happened to Pliskova. It just went away from her. As well as she had played at the end of the second set, she couldn't continue. She couldn't find it. Ash Barty wins her first Wimbledon, her second major, and it was interesting to find out that she hasn't been home in like 180 days. Because of COVID, can't go home, can't go back and leave again. That's the protocols in Australia. So when they asked her when is she going to get to go celebrate with her family, not her team, as they were saying, she said, well, maybe in 3 or 4 months once the U.S. Open is done. Because she's not going home until then. And I'm like, okay, I know as a tennis player you got to play away from home. But 9 months, that's you know about riding out on a ship and whatever else. You know about being away. I've never done anything like that, so to me that would be tough sledding. But Novak Djokovic on the men's side wins his 20th major.
Is he beatable right now?
Kinda. Here's the thing. Rafa Nadal didn't play.
Yeah.
Rafa is one of the players that can beat Djokovic. Federer is on his way out. When you watched his quarterfinal match, you could see that the explosion is gone. It's there momentarily. It's there at times.
He could just explode into you know.
But it's over. So Roger Federer is going to be stuck at 20. Rafa still got the French Open. He might get to 21, but no, Djokovic right now, the only person who probably can beat him is himself. But Daniil Medvedev and Stefano Tsitsipas and some of these other guys, they're on the edge. And they just got to get over the hump. Djokovic all the players have to go through this. And they got to get to that maturity level, and they will. And when they do that, everything's going to go away. The big three, in my mind, is dead. It's the big one right now. Djokovic is the player. And now these guys got to decide, how hard am I going to work? Because here's Tsitsipas. I'm going to use him as the example. He goes to the French Open final. And playing clay and playing grass, two totally different animals. But Tsitsipas loses in the first round at Wimbledon. He's the number 3 player in the world. He shouldn't lose in the first round on grass. I don't care how bad he is on grass. Shouldn't happen. Upsets happen. Things happen. But I think that's a good butt kicking, because now he knows, okay, just because you were runner-up at the French Open doesn't mean everybody's going to bow down to you. That means everybody's going to give you their best shot every day.
Every day.
And you got to learn to be better. And that's what Djokovic had to do. Djokovic had Rafa and Federer out there. And he had a tough time squeezing through and trying to beat those two guys. And then once he did it, and Rafa and especially Roger got older, the opening, was created for him. And, he's won 9 times at Australia. He loves playing in Australia. That's why I don't think anybody's going to beat him at the U.S. Open. He plays so well on hard courts. He's good on grass. He's good on clay, but he's best on hard courts, and in my opinion. And so, yeah, he's going to get his own Grand Slam. He'll go down in lore. He's going to win.
They're asking if he wants to play in the Olympics, and I think the only thing that I don't think he will, because there is no audience there, and he doesn't need any more accolades. He wants to go play.
I think, to me, I think the Grand Slam, winning all 4 majors in 1 year, is a bigger thing than winning a gold medal at the Olympics. I know the Olympics only come every 4 years. And he probably won't be at the top of his game when the Olympics come in 2024.
He'll be hard to beat.
He'll still be hard to beat, but I don't, he's got a hard decision.
Yeah.
But you don't get many chances to win the Grand Slam in a year, and I think he wants that more than the rest.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little Tour de France?
Let's talk a little Tour de France. We got an American that won a
What
stage.
the heck?
Isn't that something?
Sepp Kuss.
Sepp Kuss.
Never heard of him before till yesterday?
No, he's a cuss, and it's just just
First time an American has won in 10 years. A stage at the Tour de France. 10 years. I couldn't believe that stat.
seen, and he's a real young kid, and he was just giddyish. He really couldn't have been. I mean, win a stage in the big one, anyway, it's nice to see an American go back and do this.
Cycling was supposed to be the next big thing when Lance came through, and was going to create all these great bicyclists, and then, then he did what he did or didn't do or whatever, and he kind of pulled the plug on that excitement, and it's tough. But
I've traveled in Southern California and Oregon and Washington. There's plenty of bikers out there and great ones. It's just a matter of them, getting the money, getting the finances, and getting the training. And, those pedaling the bike, you think that's cheap. Woo! It's like yacht racing. So you got to have a lot of industries going, and I'm not sure that we've settled with that. But we've got some pretty good cyclists in this country.
Tadej Pogačar is the leader, and unless there's some major incident, he doesn't lose this.
No.
He's up by 5+ minutes, and his team will take care of him and make sure that they've got plenty of bodies out in front of him to keep him.
They got the fenceman like it's around the Stanley Cup net. It's pretty good.
What else you got?
Let's see here. Let's talk about Paige Buchers.
Paige Buchers, huh? I didn't expect her to come up today.
Well, there she is.
I know she was in the newspaper today.
Well, she was picked as the best college athlete in America. And the question was, of course, is you have this lady that's got a lot of talent, a lot of charisma. She's got social media, popular on social media. She is going to sell a ton of T-shirts.
You think?
Yes. And she's going to make a lot of money doing this, and I can't actually think about a nicer person for this to come upon. And I'm real happy for it.
It's a new ball game for college athletes, and they're going to need managers to take care of all that cash.
They will, and this is, like you say, this is seismic. This is we've never been here before, and
I heard on, I think it was ESPN a few weeks ago, that this was the end. This was the demise of the NCAA. Not today, not tomorrow, but maybe in 3 or 4 years.
Oh, I think so.
And that's a scary thought.
Well, it is, because you don't know what would take its place. And
I'm sure there's people out there that have a vision.
Well, I think
about how they can make a big bag of money. Not just the kids, but everybody else.
Well, that's right, But I have to say this about Paige. When she was giving her acceptance speech, she acknowledged the fact that she was a white woman playing in a predominantly black women's league and black women's game, and she wanted to acknowledge that they're the ones that make this go, and it wasn't just her. So
pretty heady.
She was really heady. She's a class act all the way around. So these.
You remember my only gripe about her? She doesn't have enough fun when she's playing. Anyway, boy, is that a tough gripe on her.
That is, and as a coach, I'd say, Coach, go sit the end of the bench and leave her alone. But anyway, that came up. Also, NHL on the 21st is the expansion draft. On the 23rd,
I'm waiting for him to break out his Kraken shirt next week.
Well, I can't get one. I want to see where
you just got to keep hitting refresh on your
favorite hockey players go play. And the 23rd and 24th, the NHL draft, and then the free agency start. That's where the fun begins.
I wonder, and just because you bring it up, how hard will the Wild? Who are the Wild going to go chase? Of course, it's going to depend upon who they lose. It's going to depend upon who they lose in the expansion draft, obviously. But before I forget, as long as it came up, Duncan Keith, from Fort Francis was traded today from Chicago to Edmonton. Want to know one of the main reasons why he's being traded to Edmonton? Because his son plays in Western Canada, plays hockey out in Western Canada, and he wanted to be in Canada, closer to his son, so he can be closer to the son to watch him play some hockey maybe every once in a while. So pretty heady for a 37-year-old guy who's, no offense to anybody, whose production has declined over the past few years. And but one of Fort Francis, they had Duncan Keith Day here 12, 13 years ago. He hoisted the cup three times. And so, hey, at that time in your career, maybe you get to say, hey, I'd like, I love the
player exchange.
I like playing for you, Chicago, but can you accommodate me and see what I can do here? So, what the heck?
No, I think that's actually, but we have to quit thinking that athletes can't think. Many cases they can, and they think well.
Absolutely.
They're all well educated. They've been around. They've for the most part made as much money as they'll ever need, or their family will probably ever need. They can take care of what's important to them.
Ice is in Bronco Arena. Kids summer hockey camp started today, so Eli was excited. He got a whole bunch of new and used hockey equipment, and he got out on the ice and skated around and fell down a few times and crashed into the boards. And so he had a good time, but everybody's going to get a chance to get out there and put the skates on for a couple of weeks. And the Bronco football camp, hey, what are you doing? It's Monday night.
Yeah.
What are you doing at 8:30 tonight?
Well,
because they're going to turn the lights on at Bronco Stadium, and the Broncos are going to have summer camp under the lights at Bronco Stadium, at Sports Stadium, 8:30 to 10 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week.
Oh.
So I figured that might be in your wheelhouse. I know you're trying to get ready for your blues hour, but I don't know if I'm going to be over there because that's kind of my bedtime now. But I might sneak over there and maybe grab an interview with
From
the kid.
my house, I can see the glare of the stadium lights, and I always thought the stadium lights is as good as things got here.
Yeah, so that's one of the new things that the coaching staff decided to do to try to generate some excitement. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. Go down, turn the lights on, turn the scoreboard on, and I'm sure they're going to have the music blaring, which us old coaches probably, we like loud music, don't get us wrong, just not when I'm coaching. I like to yell, everybody knows that, but I like to do it without having to over the music. So anyway, it's a new era. PJ Fleck likes his loud music at practice so that the kids are used to the loud stadiums.
Well, that's right. And I used to play loud music.
Wow, look how far the Colorado River's down at Hoover Dam.
Oh boy.
Man, I know it's been down the past few. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, football. We were talking football. CFL starts August 5th. I can't wait. The Bombers are the defending champion. Go Bombers.
On the CBS sports analysis thing, they went through every team's most valuable player. Guess who they picked for the Vikings?
Delvin Cook.
You're really a prognosticator.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. You know why? Because he's probably going to be the most valuable player if they have one and he survives.
If he can stay healthy, I think that's the big thing. Well, my second guess was going to be Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson's going to be just fine.
And then the other speculation, did you hear that Aaron Rodgers and our good friend from Detroit Lakes are really good friends?
Oh boy.
Adam Thielen
and
Aaron Rodgers are very good friends, apparently. So, what happens when professional players, doesn't matter the sport, what happens when they become good buddies?
Well, they have a tendency to join the same team.
They have a tendency to join the same team.
Yeah.
So, somebody said to me today that Green Bay would never trade for a Viking. And Green Bay is never going to trade Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings. So, what's going to happen? Are they going to end up in Tampa Bay so that Tampa Bay can win another title? They've only won 3 in the last 11 months or whatever.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is it doable at this point in time for Rodgers to go back to Green Bay?
Yes.
I think
because he's a professional,
yes.
And he's bit his lip for a lot of years, and he can go back and bite his lip for more.
And I think he's got plenty of support from the team.
Oh, hey, wouldn't you want Aaron? I'll say it this way. Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of players out there that have done a lot of things wrong. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has done too much wrong. Maybe I'm getting more tolerant in my old age. But, I was watching the NFL Network. I was flipping through the channels. I think it was Saturday night before we did your show, and they were talking about Eric Dickerson. Well, everybody might remember, those of you that remember Eric Dickerson, he was a pain in the tuchus because it was all about him. I'm the star. I'm the man. I'm the one. I'm the this. I'm the blah, 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 blah. Well, nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him on the team because he was such a horrible teammate. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has done anything even remotely close to what Eric Dickerson did.
But Eric Dickerson is also in the Hall of Fame and broke several rushing records.
True.
But
I don't think Aaron Rodgers has been a dink like that. That's why you say his teammates adore him. I fully suspect that he's going to be wearing the green, gold, and white for Green Bay this year. I don't see anything crazier than that happening. I could be wrong on that, but I fully expect we're going to have to face Aaron Rodgers twice, and
I think you're right.
Remember, he threw for 48 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions last year.
He was
48 and 5.
Well, that's why he was league MVP.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
And he puts that football in places that nobody should be able to.
And Adam Thielen is now his new good friend.
Well,
I don't know what that means, folks. That's the whole point of this
well,
story.
maybe what they do is trade him and Cousins even up, and then he could be quarterback for the Vikings. But I don't think Green Bay would allow that.
What if we sent Delvin Cook and Justin Jefferson? Could we get Rodgers to come our way?
No.
No?
I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that.
What else you got on that list?
Let's see here.
I'm looking at the clock. Well, no, we're not running out of time.
Let me see here. I got my back list.
Jeez. He's got his back list. While he's doing that,
that's Roger Bennett.
We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Let me tell you what I have else in my notes.
While he's doing that, I'm going to talk a little summer baseball. I don't know if you were listening to the sports this morning, but Joe, you know Joe Talmadge?
Yes.
You know Joe. Joe plays for the Senior Legion baseball team. On Saturday, 2 games, he went 6 for 7. That raised his batting average for the Summer Legion season to .607.
That's not bad.
That's not too shabby.
No.
.607.
No.
He then proceeded to go 1 for 3 and 0 for 2, and I think his batting average is down to like 5 something. So, not too shabby. And of course, he's going to play at Scholastica. So, right now he's kind of in that zone, and it's good to see Joe. It's fun to watch. The Legion team went 2-2 over the weekend, and they're going to start the playoffs this Saturday.
Already.
Playoffs already. Got to get out of the way. Football's coming, huh?
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Hey, by the way, did I tell you? George and I we're going to get to do football games together this fall. Did anybody say that? You didn't see the press release from the radio station? Anyway, I know George is excited.
I am.
I've enjoyed all my broadcasting partners. So to have George back and Mike will be around. We'll talk some football. It's going to be a crazy fall. We've got some long distance rides to Crosby and Hinkley Finlayson, but football season September 2nd. Let's get her started. I don't want to wish the summer away, but it'll be fun.
Hinkley Finlayson, huh?
Yeah. I got a feeling, and it's on the schedule. It's a to be announced time. I think that game will be a 5 o'clock game, so that we can get home before like 2 o'clock.
Well, you're right on the freeway, and it's not. I mean, it's 4 hours. It's completely doable.
89 Saturday, 92 Sunday, 93 Monday in the Falls. Come on, and not a drop of rain in sight.
No, but before we go, I want to spotlight hotel maids.
Hotel maids.
A hotel maid in Denver at one of the hotels looked inside the room and found a whole cache of weapons and ammunition and body armor and all the rest of that that was reserved from a bunch of people that were going to probably do bad things.
Yeah, you would suspect that they were going to do
Yeah.
where they were going to do them, how they were going to do them. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Can't get past a good maid. And it's just, whatever it is, the FBI couldn't figure it out, and the Denver police finally did. But it was the lady that finally said, here, maybe you should go see what's going on here.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
That's a good standout for her. That, by the way, was on the front sports page of the New York Times. So this is kind of where sports goes these days.
Yeah. Tell us about this book.
Okay.
I don't even know how you could have time to read a book.
Well, you gotta read.
Oh yeah, you gotta read.
Gotta read.
You gotta have time.
You've
Does it help if you're retired? I don't know. Maybe.
No, I've been listening to blues a lot, but
I know you have.
this is Roger Bennett, and Roger Bennett is a born Englishman from Liverpool, and as a kid, he garnished his whole room, decorated his whole room with everything American. He set out at a very early age to become an American, and there's a picture of him standing back there with his citizenship paper
And a bottle of Budweiser,
a
I think.
bottle of, probably British wine. He's on MSNBC, the sports all the time, and he has a podcast called Men in Blazers, and he and another guy, much like you and I do without blazers, talk about all things British sports and American sports. But he said the proudest day and the best accomplishment of his life was the day he became an American. And I have this book around because if we ever needed a shot of good old-fashioned American compliments,
This is the spot to go.
Roger Bennett's the guy to do it, and he's hysterical. He's got a great sense of humor, and as soon as I get done with my book about the Alamo, this was where
That's the next one up, huh?
That's the next one up. So anyway, Roger Bennett, born in the USA.
Week 2 of the Rainy Lake Blues Hour was a big success, minus my button pushing. Other than that, it was really good. Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
Again, if you're not in the Falls again, we apologize. It's not on the internet. Something the radio station I'm hoping is going to be working on, that you'll be able to listen to KGHS or KSDM from anywhere in the world. Right now you can only do that for the sports games, but we've had some good compliments about the Rainy Lake Blues Hour, and that's good.
Hey, as long as we're having a good time, this is the way to go.
I was thinking today that UMD hockey season's coming up.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
And of course, I have Saturday night season tickets. Your show's on Saturday night.
It is.
Tim's going to be gone 11 Saturday. We're going to have to get somebody trained up, George.
Yeah.
I don't know who that's going to be, but we got to get somebody trained
I
up.
oftentimes see, like NASA training chimpanzees to run boards. I'm not as good as the chimp, so we've got to keep that.
Yeah,
in mind.
we got to find somebody who you trust to come in and learn how to push the buttons and take care of business.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, Bullstead. No, anyway, we'll work something out. As long
we
as
always
we're having
do.
a good time.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
like I said, if you're in town and 10 o'clock on Saturday nights, George gets us jamming a little bit. We turn it up and we jam out a little bit in the studio. Got the guitars going, the air guitars, not the guitar, the air guitars going, and a little piano, a little harmonica.
Sue says you were really rock and rolling. She says, no mellow blues this week. I said, no, not really. We had the one mellow tune, and it was 8 minutes long, and we never got it
And
on.
we never played it.
And
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
The rest of it was pretty rock and rollish. No two ways about it. We'll do something a little bit different next time.
Yeah, we're going to get you all set up, and we'll be ready to go for this week. And so, anything else?
I've got it right down here.
All right. We're good?
We're good.
We're good. Hey, everybody have a great week. Stay cool. The temperatures look like we're going to get fried again. So behave. Thanks, everybody.